Over 40 million Americans will move this year. And based on the data, at least a few thousand of them are heading straight into a mistake they will spend years trying to undo. There are states in this country where the poverty rate is nearly double the national average, where violent crime runs twice as high as what most Americans experience, and where residents die 3 to 5 years younger than the rest of the country. Those numbers are from 2025 and 2026 rankings published by WalletHub, Bankrate, and CareScout. One state on this list scored 39 out of 100 on livability. Another has the highest poverty rate in the nation, and it just got hit with the largest home insurance hike in the country. And the state at number 1? It is not the one you are thinking of. It actually ranks dead last on the most comprehensive study available, and you have probably never even considered it. Subscribe if you like knowing which states to avoid before your real estate agent conveniently forgets to mention the crime statistics. Let us break it down. Number 10. Nevada, the state where the house always wins, including the education system, which seems to be winning at being the worst in America. The high school graduation rate sits at 81.6%, well below the national average. For black students, it drops to 68%, the lowest of any state. Violent crime runs 486 per 100,000, about 35% above the national average. Roughly 9,700 people are experiencing homelessness statewide. There is no state income tax, but Nevada compensates with the second highest sales and excise tax burden at 6.22% of income. Median home prices top $430,000, making this an expensive state with some of the worst public services money apparently cannot buy. You can gamble your paycheck away legally here, but getting your kid a decent education is the real long shot. And if you think bad schools are the worst a state can offer, the next entry proves that growing fast does not mean growing well. Number 9. South Carolina. It is the number 1 fastest growing state in America, and that is the problem. South Carolina added nearly 80,000 residents last year. People keep pouring in for the affordability and the weather. But once they arrive, they find a violent crime rate of 462 per 100,000, a life expectancy of just 73.5 years, and a state that still has not expanded Medicaid, leaving roughly 11 to 13% of residents uninsured. Gun deaths run about 23 per 100,000, well above the national norm. Nursing home costs hit $9,504 a month for a semi-private room. People are moving to South Carolina the way people move to a restaurant with no reviews because of the affordability. By the time they read the health inspection report, they have already signed the lease. Would you move somewhere just because it is affordable, even if the healthcare and safety numbers looked like this? Drop it in the comments. Number 8. Alaska, a postcard on the outside, a survival challenge on the inside. Despite a median income around $84,000 to $88,000, groceries cost 30 to 100% more than the lower 48. A bag of chips in rural Unalakleet costs $10.49. Alaska has the single highest violent crime rate in America at 724 per 100,000, more than double the national average. The rape rate is 122 per 100,000, 3 times the national figure. It has the highest suicide rate in the country. WalletHub ranked it dead last for quality of life. Residents work more hours per week than any other state, and they have 8 times fewer restaurants per capita than California. There is no income tax. There is no sales tax. But the cost of simply existing here eats every advantage alive. Number 7. Oklahoma. The state with the lowest cost of living in America and the 3rd highest homeowners insurance premiums. Average homeowners insurance here runs $4,623 a year, nearly double the national average of $2,329 a year. That is what happens when Oklahoma City's metro has been hit by more tornadoes than anywhere else on Earth. The uninsured rate tops 14%, among the highest nationally. US News ranks the healthcare system 48th. Oklahoma is in the top 5 worst states for maternal mortality. The violent crime rate sits at 437 per 100,000 people. The incarceration rate of 563 per 100,000 people is the 4th highest nationally, and more women are locked up in Oklahoma than any other state. Life expectancy is just 72.7 years. Suicide deaths have climbed 27% since 2010. Low cost of living sounds great until you realize why it is so low. Number 6. West Virginia. Opioid ground zero. Between 2007 and 2012, drug wholesalers shipped 780 million hydrocodone and oxycodone pills into this state. That is 67 pills for every man, woman, and child. The overdose death rate, 80.9 per 100,000, is the highest in America by a wide margin. The state is one of just 5 states losing population, down roughly 78,000 residents since 2009. Deaths outnumber births. Median household income hovers around $53,000 to $55,000. Life expectancy is 71 years, second lowest nationally. The obesity rate, 41.4%, is the highest in the nation. Median home values at $129,103 are the lowest in the country, and nearly a third of roads are in poor condition. A resident wrote online that leaving West Virginia felt like escaping a gravitational pull. The people who stay are not staying because it is good. They are staying because leaving costs money they do not have. Number 5. Alabama, America's paradox state. Number 1 most affordable state in the country, with the lowest total tax burden of any state. Unemployment is 2.7%, well below the national 4.1%. The graduation rate just hit 91%. Sounds great on paper. In reality, 71% of Alabama Medicare beneficiaries have 3 or more chronic conditions, the worst chronic disease burden in America. Life expectancy is 72 years. The homicide rate is the 3rd highest in the nation. The incarceration rate of 898 per 100,000 is the 6th highest globally. Oxfam ranked the state dead last for wage policies, and the $7.25 minimum wage covers less than 20% of the cost of living for a family of 4. Alabama proves something uncomfortable. You can have the lowest taxes, the cheapest housing, and the most affordable everything, and still end up in the bottom 10. Because what's cheap and what's livable are not the same thing. Is low cost of living worth it if the healthcare and crime numbers look like this? Yes, no, or only if you never plan on getting sick? Let me know. Number 4. Arkansas. A triple threat of poverty and violence and poor health. The violent crime rate is 579 per 100,000, the 5th highest in the country and 61% above the national average. The murder rate is more than double California's. The food insecurity rate is 19%, the highest in America. 1 in 6 children in Arkansas faces hunger. Life expectancy is 72.5 years. The Commonwealth Fund ranks the healthcare system 47th. The obesity rate hovers around 40%. The incarceration rate is 574 per 100,000, the 3rd highest nationally. Homicide has increased 47% over the last decade. Median homes cost about $170,000, which is very affordable until you factor in the combined state and local sales tax of 9.46%, the 4th highest in America. The arts, entertainment, and recreation ranking is 48th. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders herself acknowledged the state is in critical need of comprehensive solutions. When the governor is publicly admitting things are bad, you know the data is worse. Number 3. Mississippi. Dead last in everything measurable. Lowest median household income in America at $59,127, that's $22,477 less than the national median. Shortest life expectancy at 70.9 years, meaning the average Mississippian dies 5.5 years earlier than the average American. Dead last for healthcare on the Commonwealth Fund scorecard. Dead last for education and health on WalletHub. Poverty rate of 17.8%. obesity rate of 40.4%, child poverty at 27.9%. CareScout data shows 67% of Medicare beneficiaries have 3 or more chronic conditions. Per capita income is just $30,529, the lowest in the nation. People across the South say thank God for Mississippi, because no matter how bad your state is, Mississippi is probably worse. One native wrote online that moving away was the best decision they ever made. Homes cost $157,828 on average. Things are cheap because nobody wants to live there. And if you think that is the bottom, the next state has the highest poverty rate in the nation, and it just got slammed with the biggest insurance hike in America. Number 2, Louisiana, the state that manages to rank last or near last on virtually every list that matters. The poverty rate is 18.7%, the highest in America. Nearly 1 in 5 residents lives below the poverty line. The violent crime rate is 519.8 per 100,000 residents, which is 45% above the national average. Baton Rouge alone runs 2.5 times the national figure. Life expectancy is 72.2 years. Adult depression has surged 49% over the past decade. Louisiana charges the highest combined state and local sales tax in the country at 10.11%, squeezing residents who can already least afford it. Home insurance premiums are expected to jump $2,974 in 2025, the largest hike in the nation, driven by $115 billion in hurricane damage since 2020. Bankrate ranked Louisiana dead. Last for livability out of all 50 states. RoadSnacks noted, it ranks in the bottom 10 in 8 of 11 categories measured. A local summed it up like this: "We do not leave because we hate it. We leave because there is nothing left to stay for." Number 1, New Mexico. This is the one nobody sees coming. WalletHub ranked New Mexico dead last out of all 50 states, with a score of 39.68 out of 100. That is not close to 49th place. It is a clear last. The property crime rate of 2,751 per 100,000 is the highest in America. No other state is close. The violent crime rate of 717 per 100,000 is nearly double the national average. The homicide rate surged 110% over the past decade. Drug overdose deaths more than doubled from 2010 to 2022. Median household income sits around $61,000 to $64,000 versus the national median of $81,604. Only 66% of children finish high school by some measures. Life expectancy is approximately 73.1 years. A former resident wrote online that New Mexico should be called the land of entrapment. Originally from Alabama, they said anyone who has moved to New Mexico agrees it is worse. When someone from Alabama says your state is worse than Alabama and the data backs it up across 51 separate indicators, that is not an opinion. That is a verdict. Is your state on this list? And did number 1 surprise you, or did you already know? Drop it in the comments. You just watched 10 states that look affordable on paper and fall apart the second you check the crime stats, the healthcare rankings, or the life expectancy data. These aren't close calls. They're statistical outliers at the bottom of the wealthiest nation on Earth. If you're planning a move, choosing wrong isn't just inconvenient. It could cost you years off your life, literally. Subscribe so you see the data, because your real estate agent might not mention it. And if you're already in one of these states, well, now you know why it feels the way it does. Tomorrow's video is worse. I'll see you then.